We're gonna get started right about now. So here we are. All right now. I've been getting some pushback from doing these live streams lately. I get an error code, but then it kicks in. So I want to make sure that we are golden before I get into the meat of everything that I am doing. And it looks like we are good. Yes. Yes. All right. So, happy New Year, everybody. It is a new year. It is 2024. Last year, people called it the Jordan year. This year, they're calling it the Kobe year. If you don't do basketball, you probably never heard of either one of these. Um, but I don't mind it being Kobe year. I'm just saying. I have definitely felt like there was some good, bad, and indifference around who's the greatest of all time. But at the end of the day, they're both great. They're both great in their own ways. And the reason why I bring that up as we start the beginning of the year is that a lot of times as entrepreneurs, as working moms, wives, everything you name it, it can be a little bit much because we can start to compare ourselves to other people. And people, what somebody else perceives as great or successful becomes we morph ourselves into believing that's what success is for us, or that's what greatness is. And before you know it, we're no longer pursuing a path that we are passionate about. We're no longer pursuing the things that we are most passionate about or care most about. It's about what everybody else thinks and what everybody else says. And the one thing that I love about whether it was Jordan or whether it was Kobe is that they didn't care what anybody had to say. Okay, no, they didn't care. So Jordan was like, "I'm the best. I don't care. I'm the best. I don't care what you say." And Kobe was the same way. And that's the mindset that you have to have. I'm gonna be the best me. And when I bring it as the best me, then I'm going to be superb and I'm going to bring it with excellence and I'm going to make the haters have to take a step back and bring respect. Put some respect on it, right? So, anyways, now that we're done talking basketball, I have to admit that I have not been watching as much basketball as I used to because some of my favorite players are kind of aged out the game a little bit. They're not the superstars they used to be, so I'm a little whatever. But we're not here to talk about basketball, y'all. No, no, no. We are here to talk about business. Okay? It is 2024, and there's some things you did in 2023 that you better not repeat. And there's some things you did in 2023 that was everything to the success of what you've been able to do over the last 12 months or 6 months or 3 months or month, whenever you started last year, if you just started last year. And so I don't want you to start off 2024 with like, oh, I got to have all these New Year resolutions and do everything different. I really want you to sit down and look back at what you've done and what you've accomplished over the last year or whenever you started your business. If you started it in this past year, whenever you started your nonprofit, your ministry, or whatever it was, I want you to think back on what are the things that were most successful, right? Do not go into this year without having a written plan. I am currently still working on my strategic plan. I had hoped that I would have it all done by now. But there's some great things that are happening in the background that I'll tell you more about in the next couple of weeks. And because of those shifts that I was not anticipating, those expanding of my territory that God is doing, I wasn't, yeah, I have to now change a little bit of the things that I have in my strategic plan to include now some other things is coming along and progressing. And so, um, but I said that to say that the whole point is to be writing down something, right? Before the end of the year, I talked about, Habakkuk when it talked about write the vision and make it plain. And if we don't write the vision, and it's hard for us to be able to share it with anyone else or even to remind ourselves, because what happens is when you get caught up in the hustle and bustle of every day, when you get caught up in the day-to-day working and challenges of life and just challenges of managing all the things you have to manage, it can become overwhelming. I remember sitting, I for those who don't know, I'm on a guest on the radio station on Wednesdays for WTCC, and it's 90.7 FM here locally in my area, in Springfield area, but you can also tune in via app or online to WTCC. And basically what it is, it's a financial hour that we have. It's the Lewis and Morrow financial hour. And when we were in it wasn't the last one of this year. It was the second to the last one of this year. I think it was that Julius brought forth a quote that we've all heard a million times. We've all heard the quote a million times about, um, if you are if you have to basically you have too many irons in the fire, right? You can't be the master of many things, right? And to the effect of that, we have to make sure that we're focused in on one thing at a time, because if you try to do too many things, then you're not going to be able to juggle too many things. But what he did is he brought forth the secondary part of that quote. And the secondary part of that quote, if I get a chance, I'm actually going to try to pull it up before we get done talking, because I want to quote it properly. He quoted it and did such a great job. Yeah, see, I'm just like I like to say things, and I don't like to ramble and just say it off the top of my head. I really like to make sure that I'm saying it proper. And it's basically the jack of all trades, master of none. But what he did is he brought in the full quote. And when I heard the full quote, I was like, wow, I never heard it like that before. And now I can't find it, of course. He's probably gonna send it to me if he's listening in. Um, I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna find it because I really have to. But I can tell you basically what it said. Because most people, when they say it, they only say one part, but they don't say the whole part. They say the jack of all trades and master of none. Um, Here it is. Ha! That's what persistence does. The full quote actually reads, a jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one. And when Julius brought that up, that scripture up, of that, not scripture, that quote, I was like, wow, all these years, I remember hearing the quote, but I only heard part of the quote. I only heard the first part of the quote, a jack of all trades, a master of none. And all of y'all have probably heard that as well. But I guarantee most of y'all hadn't heard the secondary part of it, which was that oftentimes better than a master of one. So the reality is that if you know and understand how to do more than one thing, then you're actually going to be more successful and more prosperous and more proficient because you understand how to do more than one thing. And the reason behind that, at least my interpretation of it, is that when you know how to do multiple things, your ability to be strategic, your ability to be able to see things from different perspectives shifts. So why am I saying that right now, today, the first tea and talk with LaTonia? Yes, I did bring my tea. I don't have my regular teacup, and it does say my daughter's name, Mello. I didn't bring my cup because I was drinking out of her cup, but I do have my tea. Um, and I wanted to say the reason why I bring that up is that a lot of times when we're in business, we get so focused on this is all that I do. If you're in ministry, you're like, oh, I'm just a pastor, this all I'm gonna do is preach. There's other parts to being a pastor, there's other parts to being a minister, there's other parts of church, but I'm just gonna focus on this part. You start your LLC business and you're like, I only want to sell clothes. I don't want to learn about the accounting. I don't want to learn about the finances. I don't want to learn about the marketing. I just want to sell clothes. Well, the problem is that if you only focus on the one thing that you're good at, which is why you're starting a business in the first place, why you're starting a ministry or the organization, a nonprofit in the first place, then you are going to miss out on how do I get to a place where I can be fully proficient to bring this organization to the next level. Now, I am not telling you to do everything. I'm saying that you need to know how to do things properly. And when I say know how to do things properly, you're not a lawyer, so you're not going to know all the details of what a contract should say, but you should know that there needs to be a contract. You should know that there needs to be an agreement signed. You may not know all the intricacies of what to file for your taxes or when you should do sales tax and all of that kind of stuff. You don't have to know all that level of detail, but you do need to know that you should be paying sales tax, and you should know that you need to have a bookkeeper or somebody to manage the money to and the numbers to know that you're actually doing things properly, whether it's payroll, whether it's your 1099s, because it's that time of the year. Are you prepared to send your 1099s out? Are you prepared to do your W-2s? Do you have an SSA.gov account with the government so that you can do your W-2s and stuff like that? All of those things need to happen and need to be done. And maybe you don't know the intricacies of how to do it all, but you know enough that it needs to be done. That is what that quote is saying, right? So you're not the jack of all trades because you wanna focus on being the master of all of them, but you know just enough to be what they call dangerous when it comes time for you to have really tough conversations with people, whether it's you delegating people, whether it's you hiring people, whether it's you firing people, whether it's you trying to get into a new part of your business and expand your business in a different way. Like I'm starting to do more podcast interviewing and more speaking engagements and things of that nature. And I've always done speaking engagements, right, for the last 10, 15 years because in ministry side, I've been invited to speak at places and stuff like that. I've been invited to do workshops and seminars through my job, working in higher ed and stuff like that. In my previous career, I was always invited to do workshops and presentations and things like that. So it's not hard for me to be a speaker, but it's different for me to be a speaker now that I have a book and now that I have these different things going on. So I don't pretend that because I was a speaker and I understand that, right? That's a jack, right? Having a trade, have a trade there. I'm a jack in this trade. But I know that I'm not a master of it. So the key of understanding this is that I know where I'm limited and I know what I need to do to expand. And a lot of times we are so I don't want to use the word egotistical because when you're passion driven and mission rich, you shouldn't be egotistical, but it can happen, right? That the ego can get in the way. Maybe you're not an egotistical person or narcissistic person, but your ego could get in the way of you being honest with when you need help and when you don't. Right. And you have to be honest with yourself. You have to humble yourself and be honest with yourself because if you humble yourself, then you'll be lifted, then you'll be exalted. Right. People want to help you when you're willing to humble yourself. And when I say humble yourself, I'm not saying disrespect yourself or treat yourself like you don't matter and there's no value in what you bring to the table. That is not humbling yourself. Okay? That's another conversation for another day. But I just want to make sure that we understand that being mission rich and being passion driven doesn't mean that we just allow people to devalue what we bring to the table, that we don't have confidence in ourselves. Okay? So being able to know enough in all areas and aspects of what you should be doing is super, super important. And one of the reasons why I bring that up is that um, I'm really blessed that I was able to get my book done. As I told you, I released my book on December 23rd, which was a really special day. If you follow me on Facebook, which you probably are if you're watching Facebook Live, but for those of you who might be watching this through YouTube or another place, I do have my launch, which is going to be uploaded to my YouTube channel and to my website very soon. But my virtual launch, I talked about the importance of December 23rd and all of that. I'm not going to get into that today because I'm running out of time for my tea time, but I just wanted to make sure that I brought it up because how can I not bring it up? This is one of the most exciting things that I've done in my life and one of my biggest accomplishments. And so the reason why I bring all of these things up about being a jack of all trades is because I talk about it in this book. I talk about the power of understanding who you are, what you're gifted at, what your talents are, and surrounding yourselves with the right people so that the areas where you're not as good or proficient, you have somebody else that is. You've identified that as something that you need to improve on. Being honest that there are things that you're not good at doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you a great person. Like most people cannot be honest if they don't know how to do something. And I have been very successful in growing a nonprofit organization and now growing my consulting business and helping other people grow their businesses and their ministries because I've always taught folks to focus on who is around you and ensuring that you're being strategic about the people that are around you. You're not using people, but you're aware of, I'm not good at this, and this person is really good at that. So knowing when I need to humble myself to that person's creativity or that person's expertise. I used to love to do graphic design work because number one, I couldn't afford to pay anybody at that time. But I also loved it. I learned how to do Photoshop at that time. That was the biggest thing. Canva wasn't around yet. And I learned so many things. And I would enjoy doing it as like a way to kind of decompress and everything. But what I found out when I tried to go in business to do design was I really didn't like it that much to want to do it as a business because I was good at figuring out what I liked, but it was very hard for me to figure out how to appease somebody else and what they like and like create a design and stuff that would appease them. That wasn't just about me and what I like. And so I quickly realized that was just not my gift. I can do it technically. If you give me something, I can figure out how to create it, and maybe for myself I can create something here and there, but that's just not my gift. So rather than me trying to force myself just because I technically know how to put together a flyer or I technically know how to put together a banner, that I don't have to be the one to do the banner because I can hire somebody, invest in them and sow into their business, and they can get it done better than me, more quickly than I can, and probably cheaper than if I took the time to do it myself because of the amount of money that I'm gonna waste, right? I'm gonna miss out on money while I'm trying to figure out how to do a flyer that somebody else could do for a fraction of the time that it would cost me in labor, right? Based on the time that I'm missing, the opportunity cost, that I'm missing out on because I'm not being able to sit with a client and consult or do a project or something like that. And so I came to those terms. And I want you to do the same thing. On this year, as you're creating your strategic plan, as you are working on what it is that you plan to do on this year, what your key performance indicators are going to be, what your goals are. Remember the things that are most important to you as you're planning that out. Do not do like I've done many years ago. Now, I used to do this. I don't do it anymore. For the past few years, I've improved on it. And this year, again, being more intentional and strategic. But I used to plan my time out in like either I was all about my family, everything was about my family, and I didn't have time for anything else. So I didn't have time to build my business, didn't have time to work on my business, or I was so focused on my business that I wasn't having time for my family. So it was always this balancing act of which one am I going to focus on at the moment? And because I was so overwhelmed that I couldn't find the bandwidth to focus on how do I intertwine them? How do I weave them together? Now over the last few years, I've figured it out, right? And it's not 100%. Don't feel bad if it's not 100%, okay? It wasn't 100%, but basically what I was able to do is start to identify the things that are most important for me. So what's most important for me is I want to have family dinner with my family at least once a week. At least once a week, everybody comes in. My kids are all teenagers now. One of them is in college, another one's graduating soon. And my biggest thing is have everybody for dinner at least once a week. You sit down, we have dinner together or breakfast together, some type of meal, and at the same time, okay? Not everybody's all over the place, but everybody's sitting in the same room, laughing, giggling, joking, whatever we feel like doing. And then the other thing is that I want to have a family meeting every week. Every week we're having a family meeting. It doesn't have to be long. It could be 45 minutes. It could be an hour. It could be a half hour. But I want to have a family meeting. So those are two things that were very important to me and with my family. And then there were things like my kids' games or their performances that I want to make sure that I didn't miss. I know I couldn't make all of them, but if I could make most of them, I felt really good about that. And if I couldn't be there, making sure that my mom could be there or somebody could be there to represent the family. My husband couldn't be there. Somebody was there to represent the family all the time, right? And now we're doing so much better with it. But this was, like I said, this is in the works of planning it into your schedule because I had a business I was trying to rebuild and I had trainings and I had all these things that I had to do, credentials that I was trying to work on and stuff like that so that I could be not just telling people I'm competent, but actually on paper also show people that I have the credentials to do a lot of the things that I'm doing. And so all of those things take time. And so how do you manage these things is by putting it intentionally on your calendar. And then one of the other things that I did too is started scheduling in time for being able to have self-care, making sure that I take some time off for myself. When I go away, I unplug completely. I am not one of those people that goes away and you're going to see me posting pics of me on the beach and all that. You're just not. Because to me, if I have my phone out, I'm going to look at my Facebook, I'm going to look at my Instagram, I'm going to check emails because I am. It's going to pop up, it's going to notify me, and I'm going to want to do it. So what I do is I don't do all that. I unplug. I know my kids are going to take pictures. They take pictures and stuff. And that is my way of decompressing. If my family's with me, they take the pictures. But if they're not, I'll try to make sure I think about it every now and again to take a photo just so I'm not missing out on being away, having memories. But you have to be intentional with yourself is my point. That's where I'm getting with this. Don't only look at your business, look at your business aspect of it, look at your personal life, look at are you married, are you engaged, like do you have time for your partner, are you making sure you have time for your spouse, um your children, the people that matter the most to you, are you making sure that you have them on your calendar to be intentional? And I know when some people hear that, they're like, oh, wow, you got to fit your family into your, yeah, I do. Because you know what? If I don't plan for it, it is very hard to make sure it's consistent and that it happens and it's quality and and it's, and I'm bringing my whole self to it. And some people don't need all that. Some people could just show up and they're good. But for me, with all the things that all the balls I juggle, if I don't intentionally set myself up to say, hey, this is what you're doing, you're not taking calls, you're not doing this, you're not doing that, so that I feel okay in that space, because let me be real, and some of y'all understand where I'm coming from. You get to a place and you're like, I feel guilty that I'm enjoying this time with my family. I feel guilty that I'm actually not doing anything but watching a movie. I feel guilty that I decided to go to the movies. And believe me, I will go by myself in a heartbeat. I'll go to the movies by myself, kick up in a recliner and watch a movie just to decompress, right? And so when you do these things, if you're not intentional with putting it on your calendar or however you plan for things, you can feel guilty like you're not supposed to be giving yourself this space. You want to give your space to everybody else. You're a mission rich person. You love people. You love helping people. You love helping animals or whatever your focus is. Why can't you be a part of the people you help? Because if you don't help yourself, you're not going to be able to help anybody else, right? So it's all about how you frame it for yourself, right? And how you frame it for yourself so that you don't get so caught up. And this is why the calendar part is important, is that you don't go overboard. Because I will also tell you what has happened to me is I've been so wore out and tired that once I got to rest, I just want to rest. I don't want to do anything. Body at rest, stays at rest, right? Yeah. So I just get to a place I'm like, okay, I don't feel like doing anything now because I needed to rest for 6 months and I didn't, and now I got a chance to rest, and now I just want to take 2 weeks and do nothing, and then after those 2 weeks, I don't want to do nothing still, right? Or anything still, right? So I said that to say that when you put it in your calendar and you're consistent, it gives you that balance to be able to bounce back when you need to bounce back, and set yourself up mentally to be able to unwind and unfold and enjoy your surroundings, hike or whatever it is you enjoy doing. So yeah, I hope that, you enjoyed a little bit of this tea and talk today on Tuesday. We normally meet at 11:45, but the office is closed this week. And I just couldn't start the first Tuesday off without having AT&T Talk. I'm like, I can't go into the new year and miss my first week, right? I had to be here. I do want to say that you'll see on my page where I shared a podcast that I'm featured in today. It's being aired today. It was recorded like a week or so ago, but it's being aired today. I am Shatoria, so please tune in to the podcast episode. I will add it to the link here as well in the live stream. I can't see anybody right now, but I will be checking in to look at comments and responding to your comments. And then the other thing is another good thing that happened. So Marketing and Cupcakes Magazine, Mike Connolly, shout out to you, uh, decided to choose me and my organizations, my business and my consulting business and my nonprofit. Y'all, I am tongue tied on a Tuesday when I get a break, y'all. But it's really powerful. I've been looking at it, and we're really excited about this. Transforming lives two generations at a time. We have an event coming up on Saturday, January 13th. Parent Villages, Mike Connolly, and a bunch of different businesses and organizations in the community at one of our local middle schools, Duggan Academy. It's an in-person family event. So anybody who's local, it's free, and you're more than welcome to sign up at parentvillages.org/events. Add the link in here as well, just in case anybody is local and wants to attend the event. You have to register if you want to get a free book and get lunch. And it's a family-friendly event, so bring your children, please. It's really powerful for our young people to learn the value of being an entrepreneur at a young age. And I'm not saying that every child is going to start their own business. They don't have to. They don't want to. The spirit of entrepreneur isn't just about having your own business. The spirit of entrepreneur also brings about creativity, strategy, multiple streams of income for your family to help produce a legacy. So that does not mean that your child has to say, I don't want to go into corporate America and move up the corporate ladder and do whatever. They can do that. They can go to higher ed. They can do whatever they want to do. And they can still know what being an entrepreneur is about and how to take that with them into that field if they decide to, or how to eventually at some point have something on the side if that's also what they choose to do. So that's a lot of what we'll be discussing at the event on January 13th. So thank you again, Mike. I will also put the link to the magazine in the chat as well, because I want folks to be able to pre-order or order. Actually, it's out now, so now it's ordering. I would like for you to be able to order your copy of the magazine as well as your copy of the book if you're interested in either. And we do also have a workbook that accompanies Mission-Rich and Profit Powered. So that is available on my website as well. Woo! So there's a lot. There's a lot. Lot to be said, and thank you all for tuning in the new year. You're going to be seeing a lot of information over the next few weeks. We'll be sharing the date for my in-person book signing launch that will be in Springfield, Massachusetts, where I live. We will have the first launch here at a local bookstore, and we will bring you the details as soon as we finalize them. We are working on all the marketing stuff and everything this week, so we will make sure y'all have that. Also, we just got in another shipment of books, so if you pre-ordered your book or ordered again right around Christmas and there was a delay, your books will be going out to you tomorrow. And What else? What else? What else? There's so much good happening. We'll be having an orientation for anybody who's interested in our Mission Rich Academy. We have a Mission Rich Academy where you can get consulting. You can join to have me on retainer for consultation services, and you can also join any of our coaching programs, which we will have more information out about over the next week or so for folks to start in February. So we will be launching our coaching program in February, and that is for anybody who wants to start a nonprofit, a ministry, a LLC. You want to be a part of this coaching program. I am limiting my spots when we first start. I am not going to have it whosoever will join. We will have a process and we will have questionnaire for folks to fill out because I really want people to be successful. Anybody that knows me knows that I am not about, you know, I'm not about the money. I don't, I'm not interested in that because I'm a firm believer that if I sow, I will reap. Okay? Favor is mine. I walk in favor. Favor will be a shield upon me and upon my family. I believe that. And so I don't do things for money, right? I do it because I am a firm believer that if folks have the right information and they have the right spirit and leading and mindset, that when all of that is aligned, you will be fruitful and you will be productive and you will be able to help more people. And so these different slots that we're going to have available are definitely not going to be like just sign up and pay and you're in. It's really going to be about, let's have a conversation. Is this the right fit for you at this point? And if so, let's talk and let's do this. And if not, here are some things that you can do to prepare so you can be ready for the next cohort. Okay. And in between time, we'll be sharing free resources with you and information with you each week. And different things for you to do and kind of be able to study on your own. And that's part of the reason why we have the book is that you can start to read and see some things and get prepared. It is a journey to be a successful business owner. It is a journey to be the successful leader of a nonprofit organization, of a faith-based entity. It is a journey. It is not for the faint of heart, and it's not for the folks that don't strategize. You have to strategize and plan for success, right? And it's never about how you feel because some days you're stressed, some days you're excited, some days you're tired, some days you're ready to run on and see how it's gonna be, you know. And then some days things happen that life hits you in a way and things that you can't control occur and you still have to focus on how do you continue to build and move your business and be a leader, right? And so these things are not for the faint of heart, but I promise you that if your heart is as strong as your passion and your will is to do this work, that with the right information, you will be very successful. And that is what it is. So let me go because y'all, I was supposed to have been done talking to y'all like 15 minutes ago. And my dog just started barking. She let me know, "Mom, get off the phone, just hang it up." So that's what I'm going to do. Y'all have a phenomenal rest of your day. Have a phenomenal rest of your evening. And if you have any ideas of what you think I should talk about next Tuesday, please let me know. I have an idea in my mind, but I love to hear what you think and what you have questions about. All right, signing off. Y'all love yourself. I always tell you, you're amazing. Tell yourself you're amazing. Write down some beautiful affirmations to remind yourself when you wake up in the morning. Have a favorite scripture, whatever it is, to remind yourself that you are special, you are capable, you are able to do all of these things that you set in your heart and mind to do. You have the ability. It is all in you because God put it there. And so with that, have a blessed day.